Hi guys, this is your streamer Carlos. On today's video, I'm going to give you my review of the season one finale of the season one finale of The Big Bang Theory. The toxic meow and a tan a tan tan a tan bit crazy. So here we go, guys. I love this episode because finally we get what we wanted for the past few episodes for all of season one. Leonard asking, finally having the courage to ask Penny out on a date, on an official date. But first, she finds out that her current boyfriend, Penny's current boyfriend, has been cheating on her with a different girl, with a whole different girl. And tragically for Penny, she finds out in the most crude and awful way when she confronts him, or tries to confront him, and she goes to his house, and when she knocks on the doorbell, she finds the girl basically on her boyfriend's neck. On her boyfriend's neck. Yes. Yes. On her boyfriend's neck. Basically. And I don't want to be graphic, so viewer discussion is advised, by the way. So if you guys have younger viewers watching this video, viewers at your own discretion. So the girl that I'm telling you about, guys, has had her legs around Penny's boyfriend's neck, and she freaked out. Obviously, she freaked out. She got mad, and at this point, Leonard basically struck out. Basically has been striking out on finding a way to connect with Penny, like talk to her, and basically ask her out officially, and Raj and Howard, and sometimes Sheldon points this out in a funny way, but mostly Howard and Raj. But when Penny finds this girl's legs around her boyfriend's neck, she freaks out, and she slams, and she runs like a fur. She basically runs through Leonard's and Sheldon's apartment door, and says thank you to Leonard, and then Penny proceeds on basically launching or drop launch her ex-boyfriend's iPod to the ground and smash it into smithereens. Smash it like creamy mashed potatoes. So a creamy iPod. But thankfully, in a funny way, Raj picks Penny's boyfriend's smashed iPod like mashed potatoes, and he says to Leonard, or Leonard says, what are you gonna do with that way beyond repaired iPod? And Raj says, I'm gonna sell it as slightly used on eBay. on eBay. And so Leonard goes to goes to goes to goes to goes to Penny across the hallway, tries to console her, and basically Leonard finds out by Penny that her boyfriend at the time was basically that they were doing, the cha cha cha, the getting, you know getting the doing spicy salsa, if you know what I mean, in public places like Subway, Taco Bell, but mostly Subway. Not the Subway, the sub chain, not the Subway. But anyway, Leonard was like, "Isn't that against the health code?" And Penny just clarifies to Leonard, we were just being romantic with each other, kissing, not doing, not doing the hot salsa. So Leonard, before going across the hall, Howard basically tries to convince Leonard that this is your chance. Comfort Penny, and if you find an open door, basically if you find the door open, then go for it. And of course, Leonard says, "No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm her friend at this stage. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be like you, Howard. No, that's against the nerd code. That's against the nerd." That's against the nerd code. That's against my nerd code. So Leonard again proceeds to go across the hall and tries to console Penny, but instead of consoling her, which he does, instead of consoling her and basically tell her and basically forget about your boyfriend, forget about your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend. Leonard, in a funny way, basically convinces Penny to forgive her boyfriend, and that's when Penny finds out that this girl, had her legs around her boyfriend's neck, and this is where, and basically after doing the wrong thing, doing the right thing, but doing the wrong thing for himself, Leonard says to Howard and Sheldon and Raj that, guys, I messed up. Instead of conveying to Penny that she should forgive that she should forget her boyfriend. I just gave her the golden path to reconcile with her boyfriend. Then of course Penny again ran like a crazy Ferrari, F1 Ferrari, F1 car, F1 Ferrari F1, and then that's when she screamed at Leonard, and that's when she threw her ex-boyfriend's iPad, her ex-boyfriend's iPod, that Raj found and that he was going to sell on eBay. I mean, that he was going to sell on eBay as likely used. Then Leonard said, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." He basically gave a pep talk to himself, and he basically went back across the hall, and said to Penny, "What if you go out? What if you go out on a date with me?" And Penny's like, "What?" Penny's like, "What?" Penny's like, "What?" Leonard, I haven't I haven't dated a guy like you, a nerd like you. Normally the guys that I like are very, very, very heavy in muscle and very tough. But it would be a nice way to change the scenery, the love scenery, or social scenery, because all the guys that have dated are basically dumb, strong dudes. But I want to reiterate, I hope this doesn't affect our friendship. And then of course, Leonard, freaks out, which he should have, which he did, and he tries to find some advice to help him out with his happy sometimes anxiety, and he finds it with Sheldon. So Sheldon says, "Why don't you try Schrodinger's cat?" Now, a little bit of a historical context. Erwin Schrodinger was a famous physicist. You can check me on that, guys. That did an experiment with a cat in a box that was filled with poison. That had a bottle of poison. But the experiment was if the cat would have opened the bottle of poison, he would be dead. But if he didn't, he would be alive. So technically, by a scientific technicality, the cat would be basically craving to open the bottle of poison that would kill him, but he would be intrigued if he didn't. So that intrigueness, that sense of intrigue would be kind of killing the cat without opening the box, without opening the bottle. So Sheldon said, "You're intrigued by Penny. It's obvious. You're intrigued by Penny. I don't know why, but you are intrigued by Penny, Leonard. So intrigue yourself and open and open the bottle. And open the bottle of open the bottle. Open the bottle. If you don't, the intriguingness or the intriguing feeling will basically eat you up, and it will basically, you'll be dead either way. But in a metaphorical sense. So Leonard follows Sheldon's advice, and finally, and again, he goes across the hall with his suit, and Penny's ready as she could be for her first friend outing with Leonard. And then Leonard says to Penny when she opens the door and they talk for a little bit, Penny, have you heard of Schrodinger's cat? And Penny says yes. Yes. I have heard of Schrodinger's cat a lot, because the night before, basically after Penny said yes, I would love to go out with you, Leonard was basically, according to Sheldon, happy as a clam. But Penny was having the same nervous doubts about saying yes to Leonard's proposal of a date. So she found the advice that she needed by Sheldon, and that's when Sheldon proposed, have you heard of Schrodinger's cat? And talking about Sheldon, in this episode, in this season one finale episode, Sheldon can't order his right Chinese food order. So he finds the help of Howard to help him with the pronunciation for tangerine chicken. But Howard gives him the wrong translation. And Howard says to Sheldon, why don't you order tangerine chicken? And Sheldon says, I've been trying my best, but they're not giving me tangerine chicken. They're giving me a different type of chicken, which is orange chicken. I'm guessing, guys, even though we don't see it, even though Sheldon doesn't say orange chicken, he just says, it's not my tangerine chicken. So Howard says, I had to have it. Fine. I have had enough. And for a bit, they come close to fighting each other, a nerd fight. But Sheldon gets a translation audio tape to help him figure out how to communicate his order the right way. And to basically end this awesome episode, guys, the restaurant that Leonard picks to take Penny on this first date, kind of friendly date, just as friends date, is the actual restaurant is the actual restaurant that has been giving Sheldon his order wrong of not giving him tangerine chicken. But as soon as Leonard and Penny see Sheldon in the restaurant trying to convey his wish of tangerine chicken, they close the door. They basically don't go into the restaurant. They leave to another restaurant, and this is how this wonderful season 1 finale of The Big Bang Theory ends. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Remember to leave a like and let me know in the comments if you want, guys. What was your favorite part of this episode? And also, what was the craziest way that you have ever broken, or if you still have, what is the craziest way that you broke your OG iPod? And what is your favorite Chinese food place and order to get at this Chinese food place? So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching, and until we nerd again, bye!